Right now at 5, SNAP benefits for thousands could soon run out. Will food banks be prepared for the increased demand? And Blackhawk Bridge officially closed. How your commute will be affected during the 2-year project.
Watching WKBT La Crosse, this is News 8 Now at 5.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ken Kozarowski. Emily is off tonight. We start with a growing concern over food banks here. In just days, they might not be able to help people on SNAP. News 8 Now's Grace Monk explains.
Government shutdown could leave thousands of Wisconsinites without food share benefits next month. It could also leave local food pantries and food banks with little to offer. Wisconsin's food share program won't receive federal funding in November if the government shutdown continues. Benefits were paid in October, but the USDA says they'll run out of food assistance money by the end of the month. Food pantries and food banks expect to see an increased demand if benefits are paused. The Hunger Task Force says they're bracing for the impact.
We're not sure what to expect, and we're trying to prepare, but I don't know how we can be prepared for something of this magnitude.
Fortner hopes the community will support the Hunger Task Force during their time of need. The Hunger Task Force takes monetary and food donations. You can find more information on how to donate on our website. Reporting in La Crosse, Grace Monk, News 8 Now.
Now to a wild accident at I-90 in French Island. A driver reportedly hit a guardrail and went down the embankment. It happened at the Dawson Avenue Bridge in the town of Campbell, and traffic was affected. Right now, no word on how this happened or any injuries. The Chamber of Commerce met with first responders this morning. Officials from La Crosse Fire, Police, and the Sheriff's Office explained how they've seen public safety change over the years. Fire Chief Jeff Schott says technology changes and recruiting changes have been top concerns. He also says the department's run volume has skyrocketed during his career.
In 2001, we had 3,500 calls for service. We're looking at 7,500 calls for service this year in 2025. That's what we're on pace for. So the need for service has gone up as far as incident-wise, and the way that we measure our resources to use against those incidents and how we respond has definitely changed over the years.
Coming up at 6, Chief Sean Coudron explains the biggest changes the police department has faced in recent years. The historic Blackhawk Bridge is now closed. It's being demolished to make way for a new bridge. News 8 Now Seth Padilla has the story.
The iconic Blackhawk Bridge that connects Wisconsin to Iowa, the one you see behind me, is officially closed for 2 years. The bridge closing at 7 a.m., leaving commuters with one option, a longer, more time-consuming route around it. Officials say the detours will be well marked for drivers trying to cross. The demolition of the old bridge and construction of a new $165 million bridge is a long time coming.
We had a firm analyze the structure, and they found that the bridge was safe in its current condition, but we just couldn't push it any further. That wouldn't be safe for the public, and it also wouldn't be safe for the contractor.
The DOT is planning on having a ferry service up and operational for cars, bikes, and people in early November. The Lansing, Iowa ferry dock is ready to go. Now folks are just waiting on the Wisconsin side. But officials offering this warning to commuters plan to add extra time for your commute.
We're estimating about a 15-minute trip, including loading and unloading time. And then as we operate, as people get used to the ferry, we think that time will decrease.
The ferry will fit 12 cars, but will not fit trucks, buses, trailers, or any other large vehicle. Sand also needs to be dredged in front of the Iowa Marina, so it's deep enough for that ferry. Updates on the ferry service and construction progress can be found on the Lansing Bridge Facebook page or at 511.ia.org. At Blackhawk Bridge, Seth Padilla, News 8 Now.
A new bill could help Wisconsinites protect themselves from water pollutants. Representative Jill Billings announced the Water Quality Notification Act at Myrick Park this morning. It would require the DNR to notify county and tribal health departments when they discover issues with groundwater standards, including PFAS.
The important thing about this bill is it's a public health bill. I'm not fining anyone, I'm not regulating anyone, and I'm not pointing fingers at anyone. I'm just saying that the public has a right to know what's in the water that they're drinking. That should be a no-brainer.
Billings also emphasized the importance of early detection of contaminants in drinking water. A News 8 follow-up, La Crosse Common Council President Tamara Dickinson is pushing for a partnership to save the Northside Pool. A proposed deal with the La Crosse School District would create an indoor facility of year-round use. It would also cover the $900,000 of repairs needed at the Northside Pool. The pool inside Logan High School would then close. Discussions are still in the very early stages. La Crosse's leaf collection starts soon. It begins next Monday, October 27th. There will be one collection per week. Folks are being asked to not park in front of the pile so it doesn't slow pickup. The city's leaf drop-off sites open on Friday.
Well, it's milder today, but definitely enjoy the 60s today because it's going to be a while till we see it. And really, it's going to be some bad conditions going into Tuesday, too, once we start getting the rain, which we have rain coming through right now for the evening. A lot of this quite hasn't reached the ground, but we're starting to see more and more spots pick up the rainfall. As you look at radar right now, Menominee, you're starting to see a little bit of light rain there on the interstate. Eau Claire is starting to pick up a little bit more. You can see the yellows just to the west of Menominee, so it is starting to pick up a little bit there. Zooming in further south, interstate so far so good, but it goes from Whitehall down to about Gale is where really the rain is starting to reach the ground initially. In La Crosse, we haven't quite seen it yet. You can see the camera, but look at the I-90 Ridgeline. You can see some drops on the shield there. You can see that rain is reaching the ground. And further south, still good. Lansing Bridge until Decorah. We're starting to see a little bit of light rain on that camera. So this is all going to be coming through this evening, but conditions are definitely going to be somewhat more November-like going into tomorrow. So we'll break up what all that means a bit later in the broadcast.
All right. Thank you, Greg. Well, the Green Bay Packers racking up another nail-biting win, the team defeating the Arizona Cardinals 27-23 in dramatic fashion. Let's bring in our sports director, Jacob Lenzendorf. Jacob.
Ken, while the first half was anything but exciting, that ending made up for it as the Green and Gold squeaked out a 4-point W out in Glendale over the Cardinals. Green Bay had the ball on the Arizona 29-yard line on 4th down and just 2:32 left in regulation. Matt LaFleur decides to go for it, and the gutsy call paid off as Jordan Love hit Tucker Kraft for a first down. Then later in the drive, Josh Jacobs notched his second touchdown of the game with 1:50 left in regulation. The Packer defense would then step up as they turned Arizona over on downs with 13 seconds left, escaping with their 4th victory of the season in a nail-biter. And coming up later at 6 in sports, we'll hear some post-game reaction from Green Bay's first road victory of the season. Ken, back over to you.
Thanks, Jacob. Panda Express is officially open in La Crosse. Today, the American Chinese chain hosted its grand opening community celebration. Officials say the restaurant will bring 40 new jobs to the area.
We're very excited to, bring back our name here, and I think overall, just we've seen so far, it's a very good sentiment from the community, strong support.
To celebrate the opening, Panda Express presented a $1,000 check to Wafer Food Pantry. Panda Express also rewarded the first 88 guests by handing out free shirts and headbands to children. Still to come, strikes in Gaza put the ceasefire deal to the test. The latest on the fragile deal and the latest in the war in Ukraine. Plus a daring heist from one of the most famous museums in the world. What's known about the suspects and what they took.
Well, tomorrow, starting at 5 a.m., I'm tracking cooler temperatures, windy conditions, and possibly more rain. Get your first warn forecast starting at 5 a.m.
Well, developing news tied to former FBI Director James Comey. He wants the case against him tossed out. Comey's attorney says the case is based on President Donald Trump's personal dislike of Comey, and the charges are an abuse of power. Comey is accused of lying to a Senate committee in 2020. His trial is set for January 5th. The president issuing a warning to Hamas after a weekend of violence. And does he think Ukraine can defeat Russia? CBS's Erica Brown is at the White House.
At the White House Monday, President Trump signed an agreement with Australia's Prime Minister on rare earths and critical minerals. During the meeting, President Trump also announced plans to visit China fairly early next year and warned of even bigger tariffs on Chinese imports if a trade agreement isn't reached soon.
China's paying 55% and a potential 155% come November 1st unless we make a deal.
And just days after his White House meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, Trump expressed doubt on whether Ukraine could win its war with Russia.
They could still win it. I don't think they will, but they could still win it.
President Trump has called for an immediate ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine, with Russia keeping most of the Ukrainian territory it currently occupies. Zelensky has repeatedly rejected that idea. Over the weekend, a fragile ceasefire between Israel and Hamas was put to the test after Israel's military launched strikes in Gaza following an attack that killed 2 Israeli soldiers. Hamas denied responsibility, but President Trump blamed them for violating the ceasefire.
They're going to be very good. They're going to behave. They're going to be nice. And if they're not, we're going to go and we're going to eradicate them if we have to. They'll be eradicated.
Trump said that didn't mean U.S. boots on the ground, but that there were many countries who'd sign on to the deal who said they'd be willing to, quote, take care of the situation. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
Amazon's cloud services hit by an outage, causing major outages worldwide. The service is a leader in cloud infrastructure, and the outage happened overnight. Amazon, Snapchat, and Disney Plus were affected. The outage also impacting UWL. A student service called Canvas is used to access coursework.
We just created this cascading failure that infected, I can't even tell you how many different websites.
Right now, there's no indication the outage was the result of a cyber attack. And a brazen heist at the Louvre in France. Police say it took just 7 minutes. 4 suspects used a mechanical truck to lift them to a window to get in. They made off with 9 pieces of France's crown jewels.
It does appear that these were extremely well-trained robbers. They planned this meticulously.
Police say the unarmed thieves made off with necklaces, tiaras, and brooches. We will have more news ahead tonight, but first.
Yeah, we're going to rain this evening, a break, but then it's definitely going to come back for Tuesday. And along with that, we got some wind and really like November-like conditions for your Tuesday. So we'll break all that down coming up on your First Warn Weather Update after the break. Yeah, overall, still looking at radar, too. You can start seeing it's getting wet conditions, I-80. Really, if you get into the yellow areas, that's where the rain is reaching the ground for sure. Outside of that, it's a little bit question mark. We had just a little bit of a band here setting up just towards US 53 east of Eau Claire. That's starting to get some precipitation. But overall, if you look at the flag here, too, winds have kind of died off a little bit as this front comes through. So that'll be the good story for this evening, too. As you kind of zoom in further south, Black River Falls still, those areas are still remaining dry. There's that little band there that really that yellow is reaching the ground. As we go further south, we can see that La Crosse still not quite getting so much yet. You got to go west. You can see I-90 towards Ridgeline. You got a little bit of drops there, too, indicated they are seeing precipitation come through. And then further south, stuff still to the west, a little bit of activity towards Decorah, but everything to the east still is looking good yet for about a few more hours. But that light rain will be coming through the area. And if we time it out right now, you can see generally it's about a 3 to 4 hour window. You're going to see some of the light rain and maybe a little bit steadier rain. But basically at 6, we'll start seeing this. The back edge will come through probably Eau Claire by about 8, 8:30. That'll be it for it. Precipitation for La Crosse will probably last maybe till about 9 and pushing east. Prairie du Chien about the same time frame too as you get further south. So it won't last long and the winds will kind of die off a little bit. And we got some clearing skies overnight too. So starting tomorrow morning, we're going to start seeing increasing clouds as this next really colder air starts to push into the area. But overall, it's not going to be quite a wet morning commute. The winds will start picking up, but we're still just seeing increasing cloud cover. So don't expect much in the way of really bad conditions for a morning commute. The winds will start picking up really afterwards, and then the showers right after about the morning commute are going to start filtering in. And as you notice the temperatures too, they're not going to move much all day. We're going to stay in the 40s. Right now, we're still in the 40s overall. They may come up a little bit, but really towards the afternoon, it really starts getting kind of wet towards north of Eau Claire along with the winds, staying in the low 40s. That'll continue. You see the showers persist through the afternoon, pretty steady or occasional light rain. Temperature still at this point, low 40s to the north, maybe getting to the mid to upper 40s. Someone may get lucky to get close to 50, but I think everyone's going to stay at. We'll start seeing a decreasing trend after the evening going into tomorrow night, but still that shower threat exists. Now the winds will pick up tomorrow about 25 to 30 gusting, but notice they get in the afternoon, they can be gusting 30 to 35, especially as you go further south and west, northeast Iowa. Those, of course, higher ridge lines are more favorable to get those gusty winds. These winds will continue. In fact, they'll increase towards the evening, too. As 5 p.m., we got gusts potentially 35 to 40 out of the northwest. Evening commute will be quite windy with that northwest wind. They'll start dying off a little bit, but still breezy overnight Tuesday into Wednesday. Rain amounts, go further north, you'll get a better shot at maybe getting a quarter to a half. This is from this evening all the way through early Wednesday. So overall, not a lot of rain, but it will be coming down. Now, as we go into the highs, as you expect Wednesday, less showers on Wednesday. There's still the threat exists. Breezy conditions, a little bit less wind on Tuesday, so our temperatures come up, maybe getting to 50, but not much of an improvement from Tuesday. Now, going into Thursday, if you haven't seen a frost or freeze, I think a lot of areas will see that going into Thursday. Lots of 30s and mid-20s, definitely. And then Thursday, the good news of Thursday, a lot of sunshine. We get back close to seasonal and lighter winds. So Tuesday, Wednesday, not great. Thursday's a little bit better. We got sunshine going in. So overall, the 8-day forecast, you can see Friday okay. The weekend looks better. Low 60s, getting a little bit above average. And then we got a very large and complex system coming back in for Monday and Tuesday. So the big story with this week is going to be a lot of wind early, chilly conditions, and then we have more wind coming towards the early part of next week. But definitely bundle up tomorrow because it's going to feel like mid-November maybe.
Oh man, quite a difference from the last couple of weeks.
You know it's coming eventually, but tomorrow's going to be
coming with a vengeance,
exactly.
It seems like. All right, Greg, thanks very much. Still to come, gourds galore at the annual West Coast Pumpkin Regatta. A look at the costume contestants right after this.
You're watching News 8 Now. Expect more.
Well, definitely a wild scene near Portland. People paddling in giant gourds. Yes, it's all part of the annual West Coast Giant Pumpkin Regatta. People dressed up in costumes like that hot dog you saw there, a minion, and even just as Chef Guy Fieri. Uncanny resemblance. The main goal is to make it to the finish line without sinking the pumpkin boat. Looks like a fantastic time. We'll have another look at tonight's forecast right after this.
All right, there's your rain coming through. It's going to be a wet evening, but if you look at the 6-hour rain amounts there, not a lot is falling with this band. So that'll be the thing, is a little bit of light rain, but not steady light to moderate rain. It will end very early this evening. Tomorrow, there's your high temps. That's not a question mark. That's mid-40s. Wind, we'll have showers going on. Apparent temperature or feel like temperature might be in the 30s some point. So it's definitely going to be a very chilly day, and it doesn't improve much for the 8-day until we get to Thursday and Friday.
All right, so we're bundling up tomorrow.
Definitely.
For sure. Thanks for joining us tonight at 5. We'll see you back here at 6.